Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima. Book 5. Fire. Chapter 9. A Volcanic Temper. The early morning sun had arrived. A beam of sunlight made its way through the trailer window, teasing Kirami awake. The white fox stirred, her eyes adjusting to the inside of the cabin. She must have fallen asleep on the floor. At least someone was nice enough to give her a blanket and pillow. She made her way to the window and looked outside. The others were fast asleep, cocooned in their sleeping bags. Razor and Ruby were curled up next to each other, the weather wyvern resting up against the inferno cat as if she were a cushion. "Hey, you're awake! How'd you sleep?" Kirami looked down to see Terry Paradise still resting on his cot. He rolled over onto his side and smiled at her. "You look like you're feeling better." "Yeah, I am. Thanks for what you did last night." Terry wrenched himself into a sitting position. "By the way, how did you get Yuki? Was it really inside Mount Inferno?" Terry leaned in, suddenly excited. Kirami nodded. "Grimhide hid it in the deepest part of the mountain. Long story. I would love to tell you over breakfast." Terry leapt out of the bed, stretching his muscles. He and San followed Kirami out of the wagon. "So you really faced off against Titania? That Titania?" Terry was hanging on to Kirami's every word. "I think I heard the story of Titania back when I was a hatchling," San interjected. "But I never really saw it as something real. I kind of thought of it more as a legend." His gaze trailed down to his plate. Ruby had helped them get breakfast that morning by chasing down an antelope she found in the foothills. The chunks of meat reminded him too much of the human who had suffered and died from Titania's madness. He didn't feel so hungry anymore. The others didn't seem to mind too much. Shadow-Paws in particular seemed to like what they were having. The Nekomata had already finished his portion and was now licking the plate with his barbed cat tongue. As the rest of them ate and talked, San couldn't help but notice something coming from the mountain just behind them. He slunk away while the others were distracted. He could swear that it looked like a trickle of black ink trailing down the mountain. As he got closer, he got a better look at it. Yes, this was definitely Wendigo mass. It was black and sticky, and it flowed from a crack in the side of the mountain, pooling at San's feet. San heard a crack, and the trickle turned to a flow. A river of Null magic pushed its way through the crack, widening it and cascading down the mountain like a waterfall. San just barely jumped out of the way, flapping his wings frantically as he took flight. From his vantage point, he could see similar black waterfalls erupting from all sides of the mountain. Alteria, who had heard San shout and turned around, rushed the rest of the team inside the wagon. Even Ruby crammed herself in, Razor perched on her back. San made his way to the window. Seeing Jack Thunder, he shouted, "I need you to levitate this wagon with your magic. The ground isn't going to last long at this rate." Jack Thunder obeyed. Stormbringer flashed green, and all of a sudden, Alteria's trailer hovered above the ground, far above the tide of black magic. "We need to go up to see Grimhide. I have a feeling he's in trouble. I'll lead the way, you just follow me." San once again shouted before darting off towards Mount Inferno. Buckthorn, Shadow-Paws, Snodder, and Kirami's Anima fragments all lit up, directing the trailer towards Mount Inferno's peak. The rest of them held on tight. It was even worse than before. Terry stared in horror at the scene before him. The entire mountain was erupting black wendigo substance non-stop. The black ink bubbled out of the top, spilling over the side and painting the mountain the color of sickness. It was sickness. Pure disease gushing out of the top of Mount Inferno and frothing up into the sky. It made him nauseous. All of a sudden, two familiar faces swooped in from above. "Oh, thank Anima you're all right. We sought you out as soon as the flooding started." Kirami made her way to the window. "What happened? Where's Grimhide?" "That's why we tried to find you. Our father's not well. He's—" A bellowing roar shook the trailer, threatening to take it out of the sky. As Goliath and Gilgamesh parted, Kirami and her friends could finally get a look at the lava dragon emerging from the cave. He didn't look so good. His scales were slick with that horrible substance, darkening the once healthy fire glow his scales and wings gave off. On his face was a confused and disoriented expression, like he didn't know where he was. But he could sense the presence of the Anima fragments inside Alteria's wagon, and they filled him with terror. He roared once again, shaking the earth. Shadow-Paws managed to get to the window. The Nekomata's terror faded when he looked into Grimhide's eyes. "Help me," the lava dragon silently begged. "I don't know how, but please do something." Shadow-Paws sat back down on the bed. He clasped Lethal Joke to his chest, wondering what to do. His thoughts were interrupted when a beam of flame came headed straight for the trailer. Seconds before impact, a shield of water rose out of the depths and blocked it. Buckthorn stood there, panting. The sea stone blazed with indigo fire. San was still outside, flitting this way and that to try and distract Grimhide. Alteria directed the counterattack, shouting directions to the rest of the team. Frosty put out the fires that sprung up here and there with her ice magic. Snotter and Kirami were helping Jack Thunder with the levitation spell. Terra and Yuki glowed alongside Stormbringer. Wait. Levitation. Shadow-Paws looked down at his boots. The boots that granted him super speed. If Jack Thunder could levitate the wagon... This is such a bad idea, the Nekomata thought to himself. But sitting there and doing nothing was worse. Legs shaking, he hopped off the bed and made his way towards Jack Thunder.